In 1941, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. The U.S. fleet was crippled. 10 hours later, across the Pacific, they attacked the Philippines, clearing the way for an overwhelming invasion of the islands. U.S. forces, including 10,000 Americans and 60,000 Filipinos, pull back to the Bataan Peninsula. Without a navy to rescue them, and with their backs to the sea, they're trapped. Despite promises to the contrary, President Roosevelt and his military high command decide to focus first on Europe and on stopping Hitler. This strategy effectively seals the fate of the Philippines and the men trapped on Bataan. Under orders and against his wishes, General MacArthur escapes to Australia, vowing to return. After 4 months of fighting without supplies, starving American and Filipino troops surrender to the Japanese Imperial Army. It is the largest single defeat in the history of the American military. Unequipped to house or feed 70,000 prisoners of war, the Japanese take the weakened soldiers on a brutal 60-mile forced march. Men who fall out of line are bayoneted or shot. 15,000 perish on what would become known as the Bataan Death March. The surviving POWs are herded into various camps at O'Donnell, Cabanatuan, and Palawan. The Japanese guards who view surrender as a disgrace treat them viciously. Thousands die from disease, starvation, and abuse.
The Bataan Memorial Death March is a challenging march through the high desert terrain of White Sands Missile Range. The Memorial March is conducted in honor of the heroic service members who defended the Philippine Islands during World War II, sacrificing their freedoms, health, and in many cases, their very own lives. This year, we were honored to be able to put together a team of people from the Home Loan Expert Office to participate in the Memorial March. Our team flew into El Paso, Texas airport and then rented a car to drive to White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico. After registration, we were fortunate enough to be able to meet with some of the survivors of the original Bataan Death March. 3:30 a.m. wake-up call, you grab your ruck, and we're back to White Sands Missile Range to begin the day. There was a long line to get back on base, and we used the hour-long wait to plot out and plan our day. Once we got parked, we head to the staging area, where a crowd of over 7,000 people were starting to assemble, preparing for the opening ceremonies. There were Black Hawk helicopter flybys, paratroopers, and the national anthem, both for the United States and for the Philippines. Right out of the gate, the opening ceremonies that morning at White Sands Missile Range were amazing. It gave me a sense of patriotism that I've never felt in my life before. The cannons fired and the march started, and it truly gave you an understanding of what so many men and women have sacrificed for our freedoms. Assembled right at the starting line were some of the survivors of the original Bataan Death March. To be able to shake their hand was a true honor. Once you leave base, you get a taste of what the rest of your day will look like. Hot desert sun marching in loose gravel and sand. In between miles 6 and 7, you get to your first station where it's recommended you change your socks and look at your feet. More importantly, make sure you're hydrating and eating. It's going to be a long day. This is also the turnaround point for those completing the half course. At mile 14, there's an outpost set up with plenty of medics, food, water, and supplies. The day's really starting to take a toll on you and you're feeling the pain. The next 12 miles or so are tough. You're really starting to feel the pain in your feet, your back, and really your whole body. The mile markers start to seem to slow down and it takes you forever to get to the next advancing mile. As you get close to the finish line, there are groups of people clapping and cheering for you and thanking you. It was an honor to complete this year's 75th anniversary Bataan Memorial Death March, and we look forward to attending the event again in the future. This year, the Home Loan Expert team marched on behalf of our past clients in the names of their family members who had fought in World War II. A huge thank you to all the men and women who sacrificed so much to protect our freedoms.